Morning, everyone, and welcome to Innovate and Caffeinate. I'm Kelly Pendleton, President and CEO of the Christian County Chamber of Commerce. Of course, we're happy to be doing our virtual Innovate and Caffeinate with our friends in Hopkins County as well as Murray-Callaway County. So appreciate them always for this regional Innovate and Caffeinate. Today, we're really excited to have with us Heather, Graham, and Graham with us. Almost use that as your last name, Heather and Graham, with us today to talk about their exciting new restaurant that we've known Heather and Graham for a long time. Of course, they were part of another restaurant here in the community and then ventured out and started their own, and it's called The Mixer. It's downtown on 6th Street. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you guys to talk about the restaurant and how you got started.
Thanks, Kelly. We're happy to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. So for us, just kind of a brief backstory, even just for me personally, to start off, and I'll let Heather do the same. My kind of first introduction with downtown Hopkinsville was through my mother's coffee shop. It was called Caffeinate. It was right on Main Street. And it was realistically my first job. I immigrated from Canada as a teenager. My mom opened that cafe with a friend of hers, and then ended up buying it from her when she was going out of business to continue it on. So really, that was my first love with downtown Hopkinsville, and really my first insight into the support that this community has for its downtown businesses.
When was that?
That was in 2006 or 7.
Yeah, it was a while back.
I think 2007 maybe is when she took it over. And then, but my first, as an adult, introduction to the Hopkinsville community was working with Harper House, like Kelly mentioned. We had a long run in that building, the old Bartholomew's building. I ended up working when all was said and done with Harper House for a solid decade, I think. Pardon me. I think I actually left to commit my full-time attention to getting the mixer started right after my 10-year anniversary there. But when it was announced that Harper House was going to be leaving the downtown and moving to Katie's, it was an instantaneous thing that my wife and I realized that we really wanted to reinvest ourselves into downtown. Because we knew that this was going to be the important point of, or an important part of the kind of renaissance of Hopkinsville as a whole. So we, for the last 3 years prior to opening the doors, have been working in a couple of different avenues to continue that relationship with downtown. And our first attempt, kind of as it was, was an old pawn shop on 6th Street. It needed a lot of work, but the deal in the building was kind of one of those things that it was just too good to pass up.
Well, we thought it was too good.
We thought it was too good to pass up. Found out that there was a reason why it was what it was. So we spent about 1.5 years with architects, engineers, general contractors going through that building.
We purchased it.
We did purchase it, and coming up with ideas of how to save it, what we could do to utilize the space, because it was a fairly unique setup. And it had a beautiful basement. Our first concept with her being a baker and me being a bartender by trade, we wanted to kind of have a marriage of passions, and that was the original concept of the Mixer, where it was going to be a daytime bakery and a nighttime cocktail lounge.
With light appetizers.
With light appetizers as food fare. And it had the most beautiful basement in this building, which is kind of rare in these parts. There's usually a layer of pretty thick sediment that makes basements kind of hard to come by. But the cobblestone walls in that basement were fantastic, and we were just going to had really big plans for it. But apparently those plans were a little too big for the building itself, and the initial quote just to get the building up to a livable standard it was going to be about twice the amount that the building was worth.
Well, part of the problem was over the year, nobody had been in that building for about 5 years or so. And one thing that old buildings have, unfortunately, a tendency to do is that if they haven't been kept well, they can quickly start to deteriorate. And what we didn't realize was that when we initially had the inspection of the building, everything looked good. And within a year and a half, because of there being a kind of a leak in the basement, and the moisture, the beams that had not been kept up well were eroding from the inside out. So the structure was starting to become unstable, and that happened within the year and a half. It had been slowly happening before that, but nobody had really realized how bad it was. And that's one of the risks you take with old buildings.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the person who had owned it before, who had occupied it, it just hadn't really been upkept very well. So it became incredibly expensive. After that year and a half, it just started really deteriorating, which was really sad because it was a fantastic building, but it was just way too expensive for us. So luckily the city bought it back, and they have torn it down because it was becoming very unstable. It was just, they tried to get other people to do something with it. It was just too expensive. It was just crazy. So we were very grateful for the city to take that back from us. But at that point, we had been a year and a half into it, and we were a little heartbroken because we were kind of figuring out what are we going to do, because we still had this vision, and we were gonna, I mean, one of the things we asked ourselves, is the mixer a building, or is the mixer an idea? Because if the mixer is only based on that building, then it's done. And we were like, which we knew that's not what it was. The building isn't what made the mixer. So then we were approached by a businessman.
Hal McCoy approached us pretty much in conjunction with us figuring out that the building just was no longer viable. We were approached by Hal McCoy, who I've actually known for, it kind of goes back and circles around to my first introduction with downtown Hopkinsville. As a teenager, I served Hal McCoy lunch and coffee on a nearly a daily basis. His office was right behind the coffee shop, and then that continued on through as I grew up. You know, I then served. Then I served him at Harper House, and I you know, bartended for him at Harper House. When he started turning his direction to downtown and to 6th Street in particular, he knew what we were doing, he knew what we were planning, and he came to us with the idea that he felt like a building that he was purchasing on 6th Street, the old Young Hardware building, was going to be a more viable option for us as far as the concept that we were going for, and having it have the ability to be properly executed. You know, it turned out to be a very easy decision for us, since we had just found out that we can move forward. So we were able to.
One of the things he did say was that he thought that our concept was too small for a building the size of the Young's Hardware store. So he said he would recommend it being expanded to a restaurant. And luckily, our friend Lane Minor, who we met at Harper House when I was a server, Grandma's bartender, he was the head chef that started it. He just finished up his 18th restaurant around Pigeon Forge area. And because he would go in, help start up restaurants, and then he'd move on to the next one. He had kind of his own consulting business. He actually wanted to come back to the area, and we had been talking with them. So it kind of all worked out. It's kind of one of those things when you know something is going to happen, because things fall into place like they should, no matter all the problems that go wrong and all the things that you have to adjust. You find those things that make it to where you can still do what you're wanting to do. As long as we just had to realize we had to adjust our vision, which was it's really important. I think as a business owner, that you have a clear vision, but you're willing to mold with it, with the way that the times are going. I think you have to because for us, it was just a bakery and a cocktail lounge. And then all of a sudden we realized this is probably going to need to be something a little bit different. It's still the mixer. We still have our logo. We still have our passion and what we want to bring to downtown, but we need to adjust this a little bit to make this actually work. And that's really important, I think, to do that. And so Lane came on. We were very lucky to have him do that. And then, so we now became a bakery and coffee place, and then lunch and dinner, full-blown restaurant with amazing cocktails. And one of the things that really helped us, because Graham and I are just kind of local business owners, we didn't want to bring in a ton of investors. We've been in the restaurant business for a long time. I have, he has, Lane has. So we knew what our vision was. We knew what we wanted to do. So one of the ways that helped us make this all happen was we did a Kickstarter. Kickstarters are fantastic. They've been around for a long time. They are they're really good, because like we had to submit like our business plan to them, our projections to them. We had to do a video. We had to show what the incentives were going to be for our people that donated. So the way it happens is that you have different tiers. And so if somebody donates $25 to the Kickstarter, then they get like coffee, a coffee on the house. Those that donated like $250 or more, they got on our founders table that we have here, and that we personally made a huge, large mixer table. One of our local woodworking places did that, and they put into the table the names of people that donated to a certain tier and above. So there was we gave t-shirts, mugs, things like that, and we set it to be $50,000, and we did it. We hit it, which was amazing. The support was incredible. Our downtown Renaissance program also has incentives. Because we didn't own a building anymore, we didn't get those incentives, but the owner of the building did get the incentives, which was one thing that really helped out. So I know if you have a downtown area, if you're a business, look into see what the incentives are, because there are some there. But the Kickstarter was really, really, really helpful for us. And so we finally opened up. It took us 3 years. We finally opened up last December, the 18th, 2019, and then 3 months later, COVID hit. And it was really amazing. When we first opened, we were blown away. We had been marketing and pushing for 3 years. And when we opened up those doors, we couldn't keep up. It was great. I honestly miss it. It was really, the support was amazing. Food was great. Everybody was loving the cocktails. And we were having to turn people away at the door because we would be completely packed out. And it was just one of those things where we were like, this is awesome. We were so excited for 3 months straight. We did not slow down. And then COVID hit, and everything just came to a halt. And I'm not going to lie, it's been a little scary. Absolutely. One of our big visions for the mixer was to be a part of the community and other local businesses. So during COVID, our motto is life is short, mix it up. We had no idea how much we would be doing that. But we just, again, started looking at, okay, what are we going to do to kind of think outside the box and to keep going with this? So we started doing healthy at home packages where we did fresh baked breads, and we used soaps and teas from one of the Milkweed, which is a local downtown business. We did crafting sets from Griffin Studio. That's right down from us. We did Mother's Day packages where we used a local florist, and Father's Day packages. We just kept trying to think of different things that we could do with still supporting other local businesses with us. That was really important. And we even gave away free toilet paper with, we called it TP the Mixer. We gave away free toilet paper with to-go orders when we first only had curbside. And it made people laugh. Like, that's one of the things that the Mixer really wants to do, is we want to give people a really wonderful experience. And that's one of the things we said, what can we do to bring a smile to people's face? Because everyone was so depressed when this first all hit. Everyone was just, nobody knew what was going on. So we just started giving away toilet paper, and it made people laugh. It worked out well. And we've just been, now we have mask mandates. We have, 50% capacity. Then we went back down to 25% capacity. Now we're back at 50% capacity. And we just keep doing whatever we need to do, as we're staying within the guidelines. We're doing what they've asked us to do, because it's hard. Like, it's scary, but it's been amazing to see the support of the community. Our numbers are not what they were before. I will look forward to the day when we can get back to there, but being at 50% capacity, and just, it affects that. Luckily, we do have outside seating. The city gave us some tables and chairs so that to help us with that, which was fantastic. And that's one thing that I do love about our community is that people just come out and they support you. They help you. They reach out, and that's been amazing. Like our local distilleries, MB Roland and Casey Jones Distillery, has given us so much hand sanitizer. It's been amazing. Like they just said, here you go. I mean, it's been really helpful, and our staff has been really supportive. But yeah, we're hanging in there with COVID. We're missing those numbers the way they were before COVID, but I'm very grateful for what we've had so far. But it's been hard. It's been scary. We just keep rolling with it. Like,
well, you guys really are, you talked about adjusting your vision, but you really are the poster child for, and we hear that theme a lot in all of our Innovate and Caffeinate discussions is adapting to change. And that seems to be a key, you mentioned that to, as an entrepreneur and small business owner, just needing to adapt to change and not sticking to one plan.
Yeah. You really have to do that. Like I said, with our motto being life is short, mix it up. That's been so true this year. We started doing, because we were like, what can we do? Because again, we're looking at as being business owners, it's not just about how good your product is and how good your service is. It's also about your numbers. Like, are you managing your numbers well? Like, what is your food costs? What is your labor costs? Does it make sense? And we have fantastic bookkeepers, and they've been, walking us through some of these things. Our chef, again, this is his 19th restaurant, so he understands that so brilliantly. And one of the things we looked at was, people are wanting to have a place to go early in the mornings. There's a lot of places, especially small cafes, that aren't open yet. So we started opening up on Wednesdays. We call it Wake Up Wednesdays. And we open at 7 a.m. Now, since we do lunch and dinner, it's hard to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner the whole time. Like that's just, I have to be here like 5 a.m. And then I'm also managing the restaurant in the evening. So someday when we're past COVID and we have the finances, we'll have like managers and stuff that gets to do all that. But right now it's us.
It's always hard in the beginning.
Again, it's that budget. You have to do what?
I said, yeah, no, we're ready for it too. We had planned to do this Innovate and Caffeinate in person. Of course, Murray and Hopkins County had both already started in person, and we were looking to do that. So we're actually excited to hear that you guys are at least one day opening up early, because we would love to do this in person someday back there.
Yeah. So on Wednesdays, we do 7 a.m. We have like some pastries and coffee, and that's been going great. We can't do it every day because our numbers and baking at our bakery and our baristas, they what they do is a very craft oriented, like detailed stuff, so they get paid a little bit more. So we have to be careful with our labor costs. So we realized, we went through, we looked at it. Okay, what if we did this one day? What do we need to hit and everything? And we're hitting it, and that's fantastic. So we've done it three weeks now, and it's been great. So and again, that's just kind of part of the thing is like mixing it up. How do we continue to adapt to what's going on, but still keeping that vision of what we are and that core of who we are, but also adapting to it, because these times are changing a lot. So that's kind of been, we said that when we first opened, it was the physical exhaustion. Since COVID, it's been the mental exhaustion. The mental exhaustion of constantly just trying to think of marketing ideas, things that we can do that still represent us, because again, your brand is key. You brand yourself, have your brand, make it consistent, but be willing to also adapt with the changes with that brand. Like, it's just really important.
Absolutely. And one thing, we'll wrap up here shortly, but something else you touched on that I think is critical too in this time, and I don't know if you're seeing more of it since COVID or if it's always been that way, but the small businesses and entrepreneurs helping each other. You touched on that a minute ago. Have you seen that be more of a help during this?
Even more. Even more. But
we had it before.
Yeah, going into this, that was one of the bases of our concept, was to highlight local, other local businesses. From the get-go, we had teas from the milkweed. We used their soaps. We had
Hopkinsville Brewing
Company
Company
on tap. We had Casey Jones featured in our cocktails. We had MB Roland featured in our cocktails. And that relationship within the community was always a very important thing for us from the get-go. But more so, it was, you know, every time we did a care package, we would reach out to
since COVID.
yeah, since it hit. Every time we did a care package, we would furthermore reach out to, because everybody's in trouble. So we would ask, you know, what they can contribute to who, and how we can kind of split the take from packages like that, so that everybody gets you know, a little relief as much as we could anyway.
I mean, it's been you always kind of felt that support, but at the same time, everyone was busy also trying to, you know, run their business and everything. And once COVID hit, there was just such a sense of community that really was amazing. Like we would contact people. We'd have people contact us saying, how are you guys doing? What are you guys thinking? And then we would reach out to others. And there was just this sense of like, everyone is in this together. We're all struggling. We're all worried. But we're all here for each other. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to be a part of the downtown, because I love the community. But when COVID hit, it was incredible. The hearts of the business owners was just amazing. And I couldn't be prouder to be a part of it and be with these groups of amazing business people that are downtown, that are in the surrounding areas, because everyone's just trying to help each other out, take care of each other, check in on each other. And that's been incredible.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's awesome to hear, and I love that so much. So for those who have not been to the Mixer, you definitely want to go there. I mean, Heather can bake some amazing, delicious things. Graham, he definitely knows how to put a cocktail together. And Lane, I have a strong, deep love for Lane, who can whip up some amazing food. I'm a vegetarian, of course, so he always takes care of me. And
he always takes care of you, Kelly.
Always takes care of me. So be sure to check out the Mixer. I know you're on Facebook. You have a website. And people can still go down there and eat. It's phenomenal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So again, thank you guys so much. It's been so great to have you. I know these are hard times, they're challenging times, but we are with you, and we're so glad to hear that you're getting that community support, because I know that a lot of people are cheering for you and love you all very much. So thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would just tell people, if you're curious at all, check our Facebook page, because we update that with like hours. Because again, it's how the COVID is. Yeah. We update like what's going on, menu, hours, things like that. So if you ever are curious, just go on there. We update it constantly.
Good. And I gotta say too, I mean, when this first happened, you guys giving away toilet paper, I mean, that was brilliant. I think everybody loved that. What a great way to get people down there.
Yeah, it was good. We had fun with it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. Again, join us for Innovate Caffeinate every Wednesday morning at 8:30. Grab a cup of Joe and join us. Of course, we rotate this between our friends in Hopkins County and Callaway County, and learning from entrepreneurs and small business owners in the region. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.